one of the world's newest action sports. With a legion of fans nationwide and a growing list of cowboys keen for a skid.
There's fires, there's smoke, there's high revs, and there's classic cars with shiny paint. So who wouldn't like that?
It's just flying. The whole burnout scene is just, and the prize money is just phenomenal. It's just growing.
Some people build a car to show, but a lot of guys actually like seeing these classic cars going out there and actually being abused and used.
Now that you get a passion for it, we can bring it to the crowd and, yeah, do it legally. It's great.
There's no other sport. Bowls is crap.
Instead of doing it on the street, people like to come and see it at an event like this and with these great facilities here. And it's action. It is the next extreme sport.
Oh, it's just a crazy addiction. It's before you go out and when you're out. It's just, yeah, it's a real buzz.
Guess I was maybe a little bit of a hoon back in the day and just thought I'd try and keep off the streets and, you know, have some fun.
Just pure fun, mate. Just, you know, drag racing's good. I used to race a fair bit, but burnouts, you know, you get a minute and a half of just awesomeness.
Just an avenue to get away from work and home, just get on the road and go with the family. Have some fun, like a great bunch of guys, and yeah, it's all about having fun.
BRASHERNATS is the second round of a tri-event series offering 3 qualification spots into the Burnout Masters at Summernats. Kevin Mantak, Damien Piscaneri and Gazinats winner Darren Williams have snapped up the first 3 spots from the WA event. And it will take a high level of skill here in Sydney for a chance to line up in Canberra.
There's a lot of skill involved. If you're trying to control a 40-year-old car with 1,000 horsepower, you need to know what you're doing, and you need to know 2 moves ahead of you what you're doing. You need to know where the walls are. You need to know where there's a dip in the pad, all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot that actually goes into it.
I think back in the day, it was just like more controlled burnout. They call it a textbook skid. Stay on the brake, walk it down, get the smoke going, walk it back, and you bang tyres, happy days. Now it's the biggest tip in. Who can get the biggest wow factor, stay on it and keep moving the whole pad, work the whole pad and just not touch the walls, graze the walls.
So when you see guys entering the pad at 90 plus k's an hour and then tipping it around twice, 3 times, there's a lot of skill involved in that.
It's different. I think it's a bit of an extreme sport. You know, it's not just about standing on the pedal and making smoke. It takes a fair bit of skill to drive something with that type of power underneath your feet and throw it into some of these pads that we go around, that's for sure.
Yeah, it scares me. 1,300 horsepower, so in a 40-year-old car, standard suspension, so that's about as silly as it gets, I think.
You know, there's 100 cars coming out this afternoon. It's going to be tough to pick the field, but basically we'll pick that best 30 and they'll come out and have another crack at the big prize tonight.
In front of an 8,000 strong crowd, all competitors competed a qualifying run to determine the top 30. With the competition so tough, some big names have struggled. Burnout champion Mark Schwertzy in Blown put on a great show, but paid the ultimate price. Phil Kurgene thrilled the packed house with a 77 km/h tip-in and a 900, only to stall the wagon, eliminating him from the top 30 contention. You're watching the Burnout Masters from BRASHERNATS. The journey to the biggest burnout show in the country begins now for Brett Page from Queensland. Big crowd at Sydney Dragway watching as we get ready for the first of the tip-ins in the final. Here comes the Queenslander in Tyre Killer.
Yeah, Brett Page in the big XD Falcon. 383 Cleveland on board. Just listen to those revs. Got it up there nice and steady, nice and constant. That's the way to make big instant smoke, to impress the judges, to get your scores right up there, to give you a chance to take out the golden ticket to the Summernats.
This is a scored sport, just like surfing, just like diving, whatever you want to call it. drifting as well. You have to impress the judges, and you only get one shot to do it. They've come via qualifying earlier in the day. Now it's time for the finals, and so far for Brett Page, this is pretty good for a natural aspirated car.
He's got the constant smoke scores right up there. He hasn't got off the button since he hit the go pedal on the start line.
Amazingly, we're going to see this Ford back out fairly shortly when his brother takes to the helm. That's Justin. They've both made the final 30. Which is very impressive, but that is a big ask to turn this car around again, throw a new set of tyres in it, and look at that coolant starting to come out of the front as well. So it's starting to overheat. It's getting hot in the kitchen.
Yeah, they've done a great job to set this car up well so they can come out and do a couple of burnouts each for the day. It's going to end up doing 4 burnouts, and he's got the tyre down. The right rear is off the back of the car.
And the left. What more could you ask for? The Queenslander comes down to Sydney and does exactly what he came here to do, please the crowd with 2 dead rear tyres. And he's not happy with just that just yet.
No, he wants it on the hubs, not just on the rims, he wants it on the hubs.
Crowd elated, out gets Brett Page. 160 points too from the judges. Hard to see where that'll sit at the end of the day, but not too bad actually. Moving forward now. This is a Toyota Corolla, believe it or not. And Lynchy with a massive tip in. Twice around. Can he go a third? Yes!
He's the wild man of burnouts, Andrew Lynch. Got the LS1 up front of this Corolla. He's the man to beat when it comes to driving control scoring. He's fast, he's furious, he uses every square inch of the pad. His driving control scores are always at the top of the tree.
Again around twice. The short wheelbase Corolla with plenty of power at the front. No issues in getting the rear end to come around in this car right at the corner of the pad right now. So exactly what Aaron was talking about, using as much of this pad as possible. Definitely getting the crowd behind him, but he'll be getting the judges behind him as well with all this smoke and all this car control.
It's a huge pad here at Sydney Dragway. Absolutely suits Andrew Lynch to a T. He likes to be able to drive fast and drive to the best of his ability, and these big pads are what suit Lynchy to the ground. And there he goes, flipping it around again. 2 360s on top of each other. Very, very hard to do as it goes up in flames.
Massive flames out the back of the Corolla, trying to drive through it. Nearly gets rid of the flames. Sometimes they can stop a burnout if the flames get too much, but they've decided to let it go. You can see the fire crews having a very close look though.
He's done really well there to get out of that. Often that can flare up and put an end to his burnout, but he's driven through it and he's going to get to the end of it. Can he?
I think the left tyre's done. We're just waiting on the right rear. This should do it. High on the rev limiter. Methanol fuel gets the job done.
Oh, he's out of the car, Lynchy. What an athlete.
That is incredible. From the moment that Corolla tipped into the burnout pad to the second he charged up to the grandstand, that was entertainment to the absolute maximum. 157.5 from the judges, so he slots into second. Here's that tip in once again.
He didn't quite get maximum scores out of his smoke categories because he was going so fast, couldn't build up the smoke content, but got really good scores from his driving control category.
Around cleanly 3 times in a row. Here was the big flame. What's going on here?
Hitting the limiter, pumping raw fuel into the pipe, spraying it onto the tyres. It's inevitable that he was going to have a fire in that situation, but did really well to get out of it, put the flames out by itself.
So much rubber buildup underneath those hubs, and it ignites as soon as it gets all that methanol all over it, once or twice around again, but that was impressive. Scott Yates' turn now in Yatesy VT Commodore, and here comes the tip in.
Another one of these LS-powered Commodores. Gets it all the way around for a big, heavy car. That's some pretty good driving there by Scott Yates.
Sporting some battle scars from earlier in the day. Remember, these guys have already done 1 burnout each to qualify for this part of the day, or night by this stage. Headlights poking through the smoke.
They certainly do give them a hard time, these late model Commodores. Plastic trim all over them. Tyres are unforgiving and just rip the cars to shreds once they start to belt those tyres.
The driving skills on display today have been exceptional, but the amazing thing is nearly the entire time they're one hand, because with the other hand it's pointing to the crowd.
They love to get that arm out the window and get the crowd pumped up. If the crowd's making a heap of noise, they must have done a good job. Helps the judges see that they've done a good job when they're not on the same side of the pad, that the judges are standing. And there he is again, arm out the window. He's absolutely loving it, Scott Yates, in this late model Commodore.
I'm not sure how much longer that side skirt's going to hang on for, or the engine for that matter, or the tyres. That limiter has been copping an absolute smashing for the last few seconds. How much? I think the right rear is actually gone. The bumper nearly with it. And Yatesy's out of the car. Scott Yates completes the skid and throws the helmet down in excitement. 154.5 from the judges, so a couple more points back, but very impressive all the same as one of the heavy hitters steps up to the plate.
Yeah, Warren Gerzakowski in One Tough HG. Seasoned performer now. He's been around for a few years and performing very well with this blown Chevy-powered HGU. Very good smoke scores. Instant smoke, constant smoke, and there's some really good volumes there. He's right down at the back of the pad. He's going to be scoring very well with the judges to this point of the burnout.
The blue smoke won't affect the judging scoring, but it's certainly impressive and will certainly go a long way to keep the crowd happy.
He's keeping the revs nice and constant. He's not on and off the throttle too much, giving himself every opportunity to score well in the volume of smoke and constant smoke score categories.
Yeah, definitely nothing wrong with the level of smoke that we're seeing right now, because all we can see is a pair of headlights finally coming through. Here we go once again, the big ute around once more, tyres on the brink because we're seeing shreds of rubber now spat out the back. This hasn't got long left for One Tough HG. Smoke off the left rim. This one's nearly done. This is going to score well with the judges. Final few seconds for One Tough HG to hang on. It looks like it's just the right rear. The last tiny bit of tread. The heat would be at the absolute maximum as well. He's going to put all the pressure on the right side. And that is that for One Tough HG. Warren Gerzakowski, fantastic effort. 165.5 from the judges as well. So it impressed them very much, and he goes to the top. And as we go off to an ad break, we're going to hear from some of the lads as to how to cut the perfect skid.
It's a bit of luck. You got to be prepared to maybe not come out the other end sometimes. Like, there's a lot of big cars here, a lot of big drivers.
I think aggressive, nasty, and just, jump on it, and steer as much as you can.
I don't drive my car, it drives me, and I just try to hold on for the ride. Try to pull a gear or back off or change directions. It does it, and I've got a split second to grab it.
Make it up as you go, sort of thing, but just go and put a good show on for the crowd, pretty much. Win or lose, who cares? You go and have fun. And I reckon that's what it should all be about, having fun.
I usually work that out when I get out there, but I'm starting to do the big tip-ins. I never used to be able to do them, but I'm starting to front man a lot more now. Hold it flat now, so go as hard as I can.
Just go hard and fast and see how you go.
If you don't care about your car or what's going to happen, I think you can do better than being worried to hit the wall or hurting something. I always think that's a good idea, but the skid's getting that good and that full on. I just go out there and have fun and hope the best. Just put the foot down.
I just like trying to fit the car in smaller areas, that's all. Maybe not hit stuff.
Fans love it, mate. They love the fire, they love the destruction, and they just want to see burn down.
Welcome back to the qualifiers for the Burnout Masters, the second edition of those golden tickets that we'll be handing out to go to Summer Nats. We're at BRASHERNATS at Sydney Dragway, and this is one that we're looking forward to. It's Adrian Cuthbertson in Skidmore, and a massive tip-in. Incredible speed, around twice, nearly a third time lost in the smoke. Exciting start to this one.
Well, listen to the revs coming out of Skidmore. It's a 377 blown injected Chevy. Just listen to the revs. They're as constant as he's up around 8,000, 8,500. Hasn't got off the button. I don't reckon those revs have changed more than 100 from the start line. This is a phenomenal burnout. Can't see him in the smoke. He's used every square inch of the pad. He will be scoring very well with the judges in all categories. It will be very difficult to mark this guy down in any area.
This is pure violence. What a way to kick it off. He's had to rebuild the motor, rebuild the blower, gearbox, transmission, just about everything in Skidmore to get here for this weekend, and he's not going to waste his opportunity. Come all the way from Sutton, just outside of Canberra, and this one is just about over already. It's done. That was incredible. 172 points. That's out of a possible 200. New leader, and by some margin.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough to beat. He ticked the boxes in all the categories there. Instant smoke, constant smoke, big volumes of smoke. And look at this tip in. He's going at 60, 70 k's an hour as he tips it in there. 2 consecutive 360s and did not lose an ounce of smoke. That is a really difficult skill to be able to perform, especially out here on the big stage. There you see it again. That is one of the best burnouts I have ever seen.
That goes to prove the quality that has shown up to qualify for the Burnout Masters. And here comes some more quality. This is You Idiot.
Daniel Lockyer, all the way from South Australia in the Cortina. He's got the blown injected Chevy up the front of this little Cortina. You can see the butterflies on the hat. He's on and off the throttle a little bit. That will affect his smoke scores marginally. But big power in this Cortina. You can see he is making a fair bit of smoke, even though he is getting on and off the gas.
Reduces the pad, lets it swing out once or twice as well, now in the middle. And it's come to a bit of a stop. Actually, he's had to find reverse. This is going to kill the score.
Daniel will be very disappointed with that. That just goes to show that burnouts don't always go to plan. He'll be swearing in his helmet, but he's back on the gas. He's still going to get some scores out of the smoke categories, but his driving control category is really going to suffer.
Still a chance to burst some tyres. Listen to how violent this is. This goes to show you that, A, yeah, sure, these burnouts aren't easy to do, but you have to build a car that can withstand some incredible punishment.
Yeah, that's correct. These engines are real one of a kind. They really withstand some punishment, some big revs. They don't really like the big revs. They don't really like hitting the limiter, so they have to be built strong. They have to be built to withstand what we do with these burnout cars out on the pad. And this one's no exception. It has been built quite strong. It's standing up to the punishment that Daniel's laying down.
So the score might not be there, but the entertainment factor has definitely been impressive from the South Aussie. Come a long way. To make it to the final 30 is just impressive enough at an event as big as BRASHERNATS, especially considering that some of the big names that came here this weekend didn't quite make it, and it's reflected in the score as he exits the burnout pattern. On comes Toothy. Martin Tooth out of Junee, New South Wales, going to carry some speed right in.
Yeah, he's tipped it in deep. Couldn't flip it around for a 360, but he's kept the smoke right up, which is very important. The judges will make note of that.
Has had to overcome some starter motor issues, some fuel injection issues. Believe it or not, this thing will burn 55 litres of methanol in this burnout.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why it'll burn so much fuel. These blown injected engines are very thirsty. The fuel is very dense. It's just by nature going to use a heap of methanol in the 80, 90 seconds that it's out there. But also cooling factor. You want a heap of that fuel to get through the engine to keep the engines cool enough to be able to last through the 90 seconds of torture they're about to experience. 980
horsepower with this car, so there is plenty of torture, but it looks like he may have worked himself into a little bit of hole. Yeah, up against the wall. He's going to have to find reverse to get out of that one, or button it off altogether. Yeah, both tyres are done, so that brings an end to Toothy's burnout. 155 from the judges. Amazing to think that that car was purchased as a $400 wreck from gun to guy. Put on a good show at Sydney Dragway today. Stephen Marsh in I Hate Fords is next up. The big injector hat peeking high out of the bonnet.
Yeah, nice deep tip in from the VL Commodore. Blown injected LS powered engine. Just a few months ago, this car had a different owner and it was painted yellow. Steve Marsh has made a very pretty transformation to this VL. You can see him working the throttle there.
Butterflies slapping open, closing shut.
Very, very unique sounding engine, an absolutely sweet sound. These blown injected LS engines just have this natural sound that they produce of this whine when the butterflies open. It's a very, very beautiful sound. Not going to be doing as well as he possibly could with the judges. He needs to keep that throttle constantly open, not feathering it the way that he is there.
Oh, there goes the right rear in a big way. The whole car fell down on that one side. I think just the last tyre on the left to go. Sparks off the back, grin on the face. 2 completely destroyed rear tyres for I Hate Fords. and it's always nice to be able to drive the car out of the burnout pad.
Yeah, it's always a bonus at the end of the day that the car's still running. Pretty good effort there by Steve Marsh.
156 from the judges. Sometimes it's not about what the score is, it's all about putting on a show. Exactly what we got.
That's what it's all about. Get out there and have fun as your #1 rule, and everything else that happens afterwards is just a bonus.
The Fireys have been busy so far today. Time for a Valiant, and we've seen this car before. Actually, it's BRASHERNATS this year when it won the naturally aspirated category on the dyno. Check out those numbers, 591 horsepower. Huge from the big Dodge engine, and it's the only Valiant that's made it through to the final 30. So Mopar fans, get around Daniel Block. Grabs a little bit of brake just to get the rear end turn.
What a sweet sound that is. 9,600 RPM from this.
Oh! He's got the wall. That's going to hurt the scores.
Yeah, unfortunately for Blocky there, he'll probably lose a point or two out of his driving control category. But just have a listen to this 358 cube ex-NASCAR engine. I'd put it out there to anybody to build an engine that sounds any better than this.
Geez, they weren't punished quite like that on the Thunderdome. That is incredible RPM. And the left rear is gone. Blocky's going to call it a day. The Valiant has put on a show. The right rear is not done yet. So there's a bit more left in the tank. Goes to highlight the difference in the sound between natural aspirated and blown cars. Now we're done. It's just a shame that he clipped the wall on the way through.
Very, very sweet sounding car and a very controlled burnout, apart from the fact he tagged the wall with the right rear of the Valiant, which was unfortunate for Blocky. We're just going to have another look at it now. There it is, big shunt. He'll be disappointed with that. It was quite a good burnout up until that point and afterwards, but that will put a little blot on his score sheet.
It's actually the lowest score that we've seen so far in this final round. How's the camber for Josh Armstrong, the front of the Hilux?
Another big revving, aspirated powered car. 440 cubic inch Chev up the front of this LS1 Lux. On and off the throttle a little bit. He wants to get a little bit more constant with that. The smoke content is almost right up there. Getting a little bit more constant on the gas pedal would help him out just that little bit more.
Bit of work to be done to get those revs back up. Talk us through what he's doing with his feet right now.
Yeah, he's just making some reasonable volumes of smoke and caught himself up in there a little bit. So just feathering the throttle to try and find his way back into some clear space so he can see how much land he's got to move with so he can start getting those big whips going again. So that's one of the reasons why he'd be on and off the throttle a little bit there.
RPM just touches the limiter once again. Now he's found that space that Aaron was talking about, a bit of free real estate. So just let the Hilux flow through.
Some pretty good driving control here. He's throwing the Lux round a fair bit once he does get that free space. A little bit of heat underneath the car, and she's stopped in a hurry.
Fireys are going to jump all over that one. Engine goes dead.
Yeah, I think this is bad news for Josh in the Hilux, unfortunately. I reckon he might be picking up some engine bits and pieces off the ground. Just going to have another look at it now.
Oh.
Yeah, big fire out the front there. That's probably got some windows in the block there from the LS-powered Hilux.
That is what's called kicking the rods, and that is oil getting down on that hot exhaust and igniting almost instantly. Moving on, and this is one of the crowd pleasers. It's Corrupt, the little Suzuki Mighty Boy. It's a regular here at Sydney Dragway, and this is why. It's like a little roller skate on steroids. It's just completely mental.
Yeah, he's a crazy driver, Matty Sultana. LS power up the front of this little Suzuki Mighty Boy and throws it round to every corner of this pad here at Sydney Dragway. You mentioned he gets out here fairly frequently. He knows the pad fairly well, and that can work to your advantage when you're up against guys that have travelled from interstate. So he does know this quite well, this pad.
He drives big Volvo trucks for a living from Londonderry here in Sydney's West. Used to be a 3-cylinder front-wheel drive car used for horse training.
Yeah, stark contrast between the Volvo trucks and the little LS-powered Corrupt Mighty Boy. He's making for a small car, there's not a lot of weight there. It's not pushing down on the back, so it's difficult to make high volumes of smoke, but he's doing a pretty good job of it. The revs are relatively constant. He's got it up there on the limiter. Maybe just needs to slip it down a couple of hundred revs below the limiter to give himself every opportunity to make the real full volume of smoke.
full volume of liquid coming out the front. Now he's gone 4 years without blowing up this motor, so hopefully we're going to keep it all together right now. And he's going to call it quits, and it's done. Are the tyres gone as well? Both are done for Corrupt. That was impressive. Short, sharp, to the point. And now it's time for one of the heavy hitters. It's Craig Whittett in Cut Sick. If you think you've seen this car before, you have. It's Summonats 27. This is him on his way to 3rd place at the Burnout Masters, getting very close to the walls in Australia's most famous burnout location.
Yeah, he's one of the most well-known burnout competitors, Craig Whittett in Cut Sick. And this is why, look at this big, deep tip-in. Revs are right up there, right down to the back corner of the pad. Has he gone too far?
Wait for him to appear from the smoke. I thought he just went straight out the exit, in and out. World's quickest burnout, but he managed to just keep it in there. Might cost him a couple of points as he goes back to where it all began. The start of the burnout pad, already liquid streaming from the front, and just riding that accelerator pedal.
He is. This is the new combo for Craig. He's got the new blower, the new hat on the LS-powered Cut Sick VK, feathering that throttle. He really wants to keep it a bit more consistent than that. It's really putting some strain on the engine by doing this. The crankshaft is turning, stopping, turning, stopping. It's really straining those motors. Keeping it a little bit more consistent just eases the pressure that you're putting on these motors. You've got to keep the car in good shape throughout the 90 seconds of the burnout so you can drive it off at the end of the burnout.
One hand out the window once again, flames poking away out of that exhaust, and that's something that we're starting to see a lot more of, these big exhaust systems helping to move the smoke out the back.
It does. The smoke pulls up around the car if you can set up your exhaust so it blows it away from your car. It adds to the spectacle and gives you vision to be able to see, to be able to drive the car to the best of your ability.
And lighting it up with the flames is always a nice effect as well.
It certainly helps for the crowd response.
Back over to the corner once again. Now has the whole burnout pad to work with, but flames starting to appear down the bottom. Oh! It goes in a big way. Huge fireball. The engine goes up in an absolute inferno. Fireys all over it. But that was huge.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. He was on and off the throttle. It was putting all sorts of pressure on that engine. And there he is in the crowd. He's happy. At least he's not burnt, but yeah, I think that engine has seen better days. That'll have some seriously big windows in it.
That is a massive oil fire. That big yellow-orange flame. That is oil going up all over the camera as well, so plenty of oil igniting as soon as that thing went up in smoke. Didn't pop the tyres, didn't drive out of the pad, so that's why the score is low. Plenty more burnouts still to come from the Burnout Masters. Stick with us. Sydney is Skid City for BRASHERNATS as we are filling the night sky with plenty of burnout smoke, tyres frying aplenty as Mr. Bad Q in the hands of Ross Heasley lights up the big pink tyres.
Yeah, Ross has been a very consistent competitor over the past few years. This carburetted blown 350 Chevy, he's got it absolutely on song. Finished second in the Burnout Championship at Summonats 27 just 6 months ago, which gave him the right to compete in the Burnout Masters at Summonats 28 in Canberra in January. So very good competitor, very tough to beat. Ross always lays down a consistent skid and scores highly. He's doing that right now. Very big smoke scores. Not throwing it round quite like the other drivers are, but those smoke categories will be getting ticked very, very high up.
That beautiful engine that you're looking down on comes from the Powerhouse tuning mod. And we'll also see another one of those guys later with Ryan Pearson, who'll be coming out later and hold on. Standing on the brakes.
Stuck against the wall, Ross. He'll be disappointed with this. This is really going to hurt his driving score. He's been there for about 10 seconds at the moment.
He's not going to find reverse. He's just going to get the job done by standing on the brake and the gas at the same time.
Yeah, look at those linkages flying. He's just smashing it on and off the throttle. He's angry. He'll be disappointed with that, Ross. He's got the tyres off it, not the way he would have wanted.
He'll get out and he'll G it up to the crowd, but deep down inside he'll be frustrated, and it reflects with the scores as well. 165 points, not too bad, but could have been so much better if he didn't get stuck. Nathan Magri, a man who has attacked this very burnout pad on quite a few occasions. Plenty of RPM on the entry.
Yeah, pretty tidy looking car, this Q Up and CY wagon of Nathan's. Not massive instant smoke, but he's picked up the volume of smoke and the constant smoke as he's entered the burnout pad.
Just be careful of that big limestone wall. Good use of the brake. And now he has a lot of room to work with.
Yeah, we can see he's expelling a bit of steam out of the radiator already. That'd be coming up into his windscreen, hopefully not affecting what he's doing. No, he's got the arm out the window. He's not too worried about that. He's just worried about getting the tyres off the back of this big wagon. You can see the tunnel ram set up there with a couple of carbies on it, sitting on top of this LS1, LS2 engine. Really nice setup in this big wagon of Nathan's. Still pumping a bit of steam out of the radiator. Must be getting fairly hot up there. He's leaning on it pretty hard. Doing it in style though, one arm out the window.
Just bouncing off the limiter occasionally. And then it went quiet.
Yeah, gone quiet in a hurry. I'm not sure if he's got both tyres down. It looks like only one. His smoke volume wasn't as high as it possibly could be, so that's why his score is not as high as some of the others we've seen.
Can at least say that he has the ability to drive it out of the pad. But before he gets there, he's just going to ham it up to the crowd once more. That right rear he did get through. And now it's Justin Page's turn. We saw his brother Brett earlier, the two Queenslanders. Brett scored 160 points to be quite high up in the naturally aspirated class so far. Remember, we do pick the highest naturally aspirated car to go to the Burnout Masters at SummerNats.
We did see Brett earlier and he put on a good show. He shows that this car is a really competitive car. Justin at the wheel now, doing a similar burnout to what Brett did earlier. Very constant revs, slow and steady, getting the smoke content right up there. That's going to be scoring very well. He'd be looking at a 7.5, an 8 out of 10 for his volume of smoke. Maybe an 8, 8.5 for his consistency of smoke. This is definitely going to be a chance to take out the golden ticket in the aspirated class.
Incredible. That wide view of the whole burnout pad shows exactly how much smoke is pouring off the back of this ute. 383 Cleveland power. We've seen it out there once already, so it's incredible to think that it has the ability to go straight back out there. Already been through 3 sets of tyres today.
Yeah, the Page boys work really hard on making sure that this car is right to come out for business. There you go, he's got down one tyre.
The battle between the brothers to be the top naturally aspirated car. 2 tyres gone. The Queensland brothers come down to put on a show. It's exactly what they've done.
And I reckon the #1 rule in the Page household is don't drive that Falcon off the burnout pad until the diff is dragging on the asphalt.
Pure violence. They're going to make the most of their time. I can't believe the punishment that poor Ford has had to put up with today. Finally, it comes to an end. 162, so he goes 2 points higher than his brother to go top of the naturally aspirated class. The smoke pours out the back, and that could be for a golden ticket. The Utes will continue, and now it's Matt Power, former runner-up at the Burnout Masters in 2013 with big speed on the way in.
Big tip in there from Matt Power, puts it right down in the back corner, got himself a little bit stuck. He's a very horses for courses driver, is Matt. SummerNats, he takes it slow and steady and fills the arena with smoke. Out here, he's got kilometres of real estate to play with, so 540 blown injected big block, let's use it, let's tip it in deep and fast, and that's exactly what he did.
Takes the exhaust down a different route as well, with it poking out the sides just before the rear tyres, so that'll disperse the smoke differently as well.
It does. He makes plenty of smoke on his own, but that 90-degree angle in the exhaust just really, really pumps it out. He is one of the biggest smoke makers in the burnout game, Matt Power.
When you put the blower on it, it changes everything, doesn't it?
It does. Increases the torque immensely, obviously increases the horsepower as well, makes a massive difference.
It also increases the volume by about 2-fold.
Sure does.
Or flames.
You can see that there. He's got the flames pumping out the exhaust every time he's on and off the throttle. It's not the typical Matt Power burnout. He is getting on and off the gas a little bit, which is slightly affecting his smoke scores. He's normally a 9.5 out of 10 for volume of smoke, 9.5 for constant. He's 8.5, 9s today. It's not quite up where he normally would be. You can see from the flames how much he's on and off the gas.
If any rubber was to start building up under that tray, it would definitely be catching alight right now. We've got a hose coming loose towards the front of the engine bay as well, so there's not much longer left in this one. judging by the way the car's lurching back and forward, almost like he's trying to find reverse. He did have some gearbox issues earlier in the day with this car, and it looks like he's decided just to shut the thing off as a result. So disappointing end for T for Tough. He's usually such a heavy hitter, a winner at Kandos, runner-up at the Burnout Masters last year. And unfortunately for Matt Powers, didn't quite go the way he would have wanted. Here we go. As far as heavy hitters go, this is one of the big-time emerging players. Brett Battersby and Blown Lux, a real crowd pleaser, mainly because it looks something like a monster truck.
It does. It is a monster truck of sorts. 540 cubic inches of Chevy's best up the front of this Hilux. Look at the smoke. Look at the smoke. That volume of smoke score is going to be right up the pointy end. That's a 9, a 9.5, maybe even some 10 out of 10s from the judges there for Brett Battersby in the Hilux. Got the revs right up there as well. He's been around the scene for a couple of years now, and he's learnt how to perform a great burnout. Look at that amount of smoke. There's 4 judges out there scoring out of 50, 5 categories, 10 points in each category. The instant smoke, constant smoke, volume of smoke, driving control, and pop tyres. The 3 smoke categories, he's going to be 9s, 9.5 all the way through. Driving might be the area that lets him down a little bit, but not because of anything he's doing. He's making so much smoke, you just can't see where he's going. I'm sure he's going to get the tyres off the thing. This will be very, very highly scoring from Brett Battersby.
He's already been to Summonats once as a wild card, trying to qualify inside the top 2 to guarantee one of those golden tickets. Told you this guy's a crowd pleaser. Nobody is going to miss out on watching Blown Lux take to the pad. The tyres are done. Former winner of Kandos, former winner of the Good Friday skids here at City Dragway, and he's going to the tray. Brett Battersby goes to second. That's good enough at the moment for one of those golden tickets, but is he going to hang on to it? Well, we'll find out with the final few burnouts after the break. Welcome back to BRASHERNATS, where we have boiled it down to some of the best burnouts. Not everybody made the cut, but that wasn't to say that they weren't extremely entertaining. Oh yes, it's not just the tyres that have taken a beating here this weekend at BRASHERNATS, trying to qualify for the Summonats. This is one guy that we've seen at Summonats before. I'm talking about Billy Seaton. He's actually placed in the top 3 before in the Burnout Masters, so knows exactly how to get the job done.
He sure does. Been around the scene for a long while now, Billy Seaton. A couple of years ago, moved from the aspirated setup to the big blown injected big block. And look at that instant smoke out of Billy's HQ. That's a great way to start. Tips it in nicely, 360, and keeps the smoke up all the way through it.
The bar has been set. 171 points is what he needs to beat to get his hands on the golden ticket. We saw how good that was from Brett Battersby. Can Billy go better?
He's a good chance so far. His constant smoke scores and volume smoke scores are right up there. They're going to be 8.5s and 9s. He's going to be a good chance to take out that golden ticket, as you said.
Oh, that right tyre already looks like it may have let go. That was quick. Speedy, but was it too quick? And is he stranded right now? Trying to get that thing to move with some low RPM, help the torque to do it. And no, he's going to need some assistance to get this thing off the pad. Scores come in just under the mark where he needs it.
Yeah, that's really bad luck for Billy. It was a really good burnout. It was short, but high scoring in all the smoke categories. And being pushed out is certainly not going to help him.
Eerie smoke lies ahead for Andrew Cohen, VK Commodore. And he's going to light it up nice and early. See how much speed he can build as we get up to the last few burnouts of BRASHERNATS, the last few chances to qualify for one of those 3 tickets.
Another aspirated car Pretty nice start here from Andrew. Really good instant smoke score, and his volume of smoke is quite good. The aspirated cars don't have the torque and the power that the blown cars do, so they tend to drive a little bit slower to be able to build up that volume and that consistency of smoke, and Andrew's doing a great job of that at the moment. He'd be looking at some 8s, maybe 8.5s in his smoke scores so far in this burnout.
162 points. That's the number that he needs to go better than. It's the score set by Justin Page earlier in the Ford.
He'll be pretty close with this burnout. He probably wants to drive it a little bit more. He's been operating in a pretty small space, and it looks like he's got the tyres off the back of the VK, has he? Yeah, there he is, jumping out of the car. He's pretty happy with himself.
So it just falls short, 159 points. Won't be going to Summernats with that score, but there's still a couple more guys to try and do better. One of which is Ryan Pearson in Hold On his way to the burnout pad from the Blue Mountains from Richmond. Only about 20-25 minutes away from where we're sitting right now, and plenty of smoke to get this one on the road.
Listen to the revs coming out of this Holden, this HT Holden. He's gone the old school look. The flat black, it's got a few dents in it. He's got the wire wheels on it. But just have a listen to that engine screaming. That's 8,500 plus revs, and constant revs too. Let's just have a listen to it.
That's why we love small blocks. 411 cubic inches, carburetted as well, so old school to the T.
Yeah, all old school. Got the carbies on it, but running methanol through them, making a fair bit of power from memory. This engine, I think it's high 900 horsepower. Look at that smoke. He's taking a risk driving through that. He can't really see where he's going, but he's got his bearings about him. He'd be looking up and looking at reference points in the grandstand, the lights, so he can still drive through this smoke and not have to sit stagnant until it clears to give him a clear path to drive into.
Comes in with some good form recently, only just a couple of weeks ago, as a matter of fact, finished second in Tamworth. Doesn't matter what sport it is, form counts. On the brakes to get that thing turned around right in the corner.
Oh, he's done nicely. Just got off the throttle a little bit to keep it off the wall, and then drives right out of it again and throws it deep into the pad. Look at those flames coming out the exhaust. Like a few of the cars earlier on, he's got them pointed at 90 degrees. Really pumps the smoke away from the car. Getting close to the wall again, but again he's able to drive it nicely out of there. Back up the return road.
On the grass.
Tags the grass a little bit. That's not going to help his driving control score, but entertaining nonetheless.
Probably the biggest burnout pad in the country, and it's not enough for some of these guys.
No, he loves his real estate, Ryan Pearson, and he's trying to touch every piece of it out here.
Only problem is, just needs the tyres to go.
He does. This is a big burnout. They must be some serious tyres on there. He's got this thing in top gear, turning the thing to 8,500 plus, and the tyres are still alive.
He actually chose some truck tyres. And I just wonder if maybe that was not the right choice.
Yeah, that'd be why. 90 seconds not long enough for Ryan. He wants to be out there for 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, they say you only get one shot to make it count. And he's really making it count by going out there and enjoying himself to the absolute maximum that he can. But it's just going on to the state now where he needs to get these tyres done.
Yeah, I think they're just about gone, or he might have just got them down. You can see the right one's still alive. He's still got a little bit of life left in it.
He said this 411 cubic inch engine's reliable. He's proving it to be just the case. Powerhouse Performance know how to make an engine last, clearly. And now coolant spewing from the front. Both tyres are eventually gone. He got there eventually. Ryan Pearson putting on an absolute show with the rim sparking up. And the score, we'll have to wait and see what it is, but maybe just damaged slightly by the fact that it went on for a while longer.
Yeah, I think that would have affected him. Had those tyres got away a little bit early before they started to really fade in the smoke volume, he possibly would have scored a little bit higher.
Does get to drive the thing out of the burnout pad, which will count for something, and 163 points as it goes back over one part of the track which he'd already been across, as Dom Lucci now comes forward. This is Light 'em Up, 26 years old. Local driver built this car with his dad, already battling one little scar from the weekend. He ran into one of the posts out there in the pit area at Sydney Dragway, but so far so good with a couple different colours of smoke coming out the back.
Yeah, I don't think that little dint's going to affect him. Dom Lucci is one of the heavy hitters in the aspirated class, and overall, for that matter. He's been to Burnout Masters a couple of years ago with a golden ticket. Didn't quite make it through to the top 10 to give himself another opportunity to have a crack at the big prize. But today might be the day that Dom picks up one of those elusive golden tickets to get himself back up to Burnout in the Masters to have another crack at the big title. Doing very well so far. Instant smoke was great. Volume of smoke is fantastic. Constant smoke is great. He's got some nice consistent revs. Doing very, very well so far, Dom Lucci.
That one time that he did go to the Masters, he said he just tried too hard. The occasion got to him, but it looks like maybe today he's taken control of those emotions, and he's managing so far to put on a pretty good show.
He's doing quite well. He's got the Page boys to beat in their XD Falcon. Doing a very similar burnout to them, maybe driving it just a little bit more. He's used a fair bit of the burnout pad. You can see he's surrounded in smoke. He'll be doing very well in those categories and the driving category as well. This is going to be a very good score from Dom Lucci.
Listen to that motor screaming. Comes out of Russo Performance. Burning VP Racing fuel.
Got one of the tyres down.
This is going to score well, surely. Just tips it back on that left rim and it sparks up. The shift light flashing in his face. The limiter coming on just under 8,000 RPM. Looking out to that right tyre, willing it to pop.
He knows it's not far away. He's got his arm out the window looking at the crowd. Has he got it down now? I think it might be all over for those tyres. Yes, it is. What a performance there by Dom Lucci.
Impressive burnout, a car that he's had now for 5 years, originally purchased as a paddock basher, and the score is good enough. He goes to #1 in the naturally aspirated class. Dom Lucci is going to Burnout, and to finish the show off, who better than to take you legal out? It's Mick Brasher at BRASHERNATS. Exhibition burnout only. This isn't part of the competition. It's just a chance to enjoy the master at work.
Oh, Mick Brasher, he'll take any opportunity to smash a set of tyres. In the granny pack Corolla, absolutely magnificent setup. He's had many different paint schemes and wheel setups and engine setups in this Corolla. I reckon this is the best. Have a listen to it. Listen to the blower whine.
Filling the Sydney Dragway Arena with as much smoke as possible. This guy has been to the very top of Australian burnouts. We talk about Burnout, the grand final, the Burnout Masters. He's won it. He's proven that he can be the best in the country.
That's exactly right. You're only as good as your last performance, and his last performance at the Masters was the winner. One of the best that we've seen, and he's going to be up there again this year trying to defend his title. So the guys from his show that'll be going up there will be going up there to beat this man.
Maybe this is just a chance to remind those three guys that were lucky enough to win tickets today as to exactly what they're in for when Burnout does kick around once again. Burnout 28 Canberra in the new year. You do not want to miss it because this is the kind of show that we put on, but on a much grander scale.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Mick Brasher up there having a crack at defending his title. This is just a demo. Wait until he gets really serious.
It's just him having fun.
It is, and fun it is too. Have a look at him. Got the spectators in there. He's got the big Australian, the big finger, which he's become very renowned for, and he's given it away to some lucky punter in the crowd too.
That is how you finish a show off in absolute style. 3 lucky people are going off to Burnout 28 next year. That is, of course, for the Burnout Masters, but BRASHERNATS, what an incredible show it was. And coming in 3rd place and just missing out on a golden ticket was Warren Gersakowski.
Family road trip turned out to be a pretty good trip, so yeah, no, it was all good.
Did you know it was a good skid when you're in the middle of it?
No, it was a lot of tough competitors out there, right? Like everyone was, but just at the end of it, just the fact that we finished, I think, and the boys were pushing it hard, and yeah, that's the way it goes, I guess. So, top day.
Second in the blown class today, Brett Battersby going off to Burnout once again.
Yeah, mate, that's fantastic, eh? Like I said, I got a wild card last year, and to earn one seems a whole lot better. Mate, I threw it into them first 2 donuts, and I never seen anything till I finished. I did not have a clue where I was. I nearly hit the wall on the far side, I think I was told, so yeah, no, just held it flat.
But just pipping him for #1, Adrian Cuthbertson in Skidmore, and he's going to his first ever Burnout Masters.
Oh, mate, the world, mate. Been trying to do it for a while now. Thank you very much to Mick and the team. It was great. Cool.
And topping the naturally aspirated cars for that final ticket, it's Dom Lucci.
Yeah, pretty wrapped, man. A couple of years ago, we had a go at it in the Masters. I made the Masters then and didn't get a clean. Driver error, so hopefully this year I can make it work and see how we go.
We saw him finish the show off in style. Mick Brasher, can't be BRASHERNATS without him.
Mate, killer event. I couldn't do it without my team and support of everyone here at Western Sydney International Dragway. What a perfect day, perfect crowd, killer cars, a lot of carnage. Mine didn't break, and yeah, I can't thank everyone enough.
BRASHERNATS certainly did smoke it up. Well, on behalf of Aaron Mackley and the entire team here, this is Chad Naylon saying thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.